Paul talked about that we have been working on this for a long time. We need to acknowledge the council that back in 2005 actually purchased this property. The need for wastewater expansion has been known for a very, 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 very long time. These kind of things don't just accidentally happen. It's important to note that the comprehensive plan that was approved in November of 2016, in our comprehensive plan, we had two main goals: expand wastewater collection and treatment capacity, and to enhance the efficiency. So the plant is how you grow. At the end of the day, we all knew that development was going to come, and we said we wanted to control that development. We didn't want to be controlled by that development. And you can want to do a lot of things. You can want to live in a little bitty house. You can want to live on a mansion on a hill. But you know what you all need to do by the end of the day? You got to flush a toilet. And you need to know that when you flush that toilet that you're not polluting the river, because you want to be able to enjoy the environment after you've done that.
The planning for how this gets financed is all a big part of what the mayor was just talking about, that prior city planning that speaks to making sure we have infrastructure, water, and here wastewater that is set up to serve this growing area for the next several decades. And key to success there is to make sure that future development pays for as much of today's and future cost as possible. There's a couple of things driving the need for this wastewater facility, and one is that the extent to which we are at capacity with our current system right now, and then very obviously the community is growing, the area in the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction is growing. It is our objective to serve that area with water and sewer and achieve the council's objective of managed growth by providing quality water and wastewater services there. And the objective is, to the extent we can, make those future customers of the plant pay for as much of the plant as possible. We do that obviously by issuing long-term debt that is paid off over the next 25 to 30 years. That's a generational equity thing, so that the folks who are using the facility a few decades from now are helping to pay for it, and that mitigates the burden on the current ratepayers. And the other thing we do is implement impact fees through our development process. The city of Bastrop takes a pretty aggressive approach to those impact fees. That is all very regulated by state law, and of course we're compliant with that to make sure where our fees are consistent with what the cost of providing the service is. And the whole idea, again, is to mitigate the impact on the current customers and make sure future ratepayers are helping bear that burden. That's a real priority for the city council. That's a real priority for the staff. The mayor spoke to this as well. Another piece of how it is all financed is the extent to which we've been able to negotiate an agreement with Aqua Water Supply that has the water CCN for much of our growth area. While it's in the city's wastewater CCN, we've been able to negotiate an arrangement with Aqua whereby they are the wholesale water provider for the new development and we're the retail provider. And again, that adds additional ratepayers over the next several years to that overall funding mix.
The thought and the care that went into the plan, I'll talk about that a little bit, was great, and our partners at KSA were extremely helpful. We actually acquired additional property for a couple of reasons. One, because the floodplain changed since 2006 when the property was originally purchased. Sorry, my notes are flying away here. And two, because we wanted to be a good neighbor, and that's what we talked about. So if you'll look out to this area where these homes are in this ranch that's been in this family for years, there will actually be a 100-foot tree buffer there that allows us to, give a nice distance so you don't feel like you're living next to a wastewater plant. We'll have similar to what we have back here. We spent a lot of time, especially Greg DRC, with the odor mitigation, right? So the entire plant is covered. So everybody knows that wastewater is not the most pleasant thing to be next to. So if we can cover that plant and mitigate that, that's really one of the focus areas that we drove home with KSA, and they met that expectation. And then if you look at this rendering here, the actual office is going to be similar to the homes that are in this area. So if you just across that ditch or just across that creek and across that tree line is homes that are very similar to this. So our whole goal was to fit into the neighborhood, fit into the fabric, everybody has to have a wastewater plant, but you don't have to feel like you live next to one. So it was really important to us that we were a good neighbor and that we helped Bastrop grow. So, and part of that growth is the way that the full build out was thought through. This site is actually large enough for 3 additional phases, and that 3 additional phases can serve up to approximately 70,000 homes. So while we may not need it for a while, it was important that we thought this out for the next 50 to 100 years, because we want to make sure that Bastrop continues to be safe, continues to grow, and we can help manage that.
I'd like to start off by just saying how grateful and thankful we are to have been entrusted to design this project on behalf of the city. We love teaming with municipalities that are future focused and solutions oriented, and that's exactly what we found here in this community of Bastrop. We knew that the existing treatment plants were nearing the end of their useful life, and so something had to be done, and the city, as mentioned earlier, has been working on that for many years to prepare themselves for this day. This is a long time coming, but there's a lot of work that has taken place before KSA was ever hired to prepare for what was coming. We knew that the city was growing exponentially. Man, what a beautiful community. I spent some time this morning just driving around and had lunch in the downtown area. Just a beautiful community. Can certainly see what's attracting people to come to this community. And because of these reasons, KSA was selected in October of 2018 to design this new wastewater treatment plant and the collection system on this site. The capacity of this plant this initial phase will be 2 million gallons of water per day. And some of the key components that the city specifically requested that KSA pay attention to was that value, that aesthetic value of being a good neighbor. Design a project that will not stick out like a sore thumb, that will blend into the surrounding environment. State-of-the-art water treatment. Wanted to really be intentional about making sure that the process that's used for treating this wastewater is state-of-the-art. And then obviously making sure we meet all of the regulatory rules, the regulatory compliance. And then designing the collection system to get the wastewater to this site using the best materials in a cost-effective manner. And then, as previously mentioned, odor, light, and sound mitigation from the plant site. And then, of course, with all of that in mind, cost effectiveness, because at the end of the day, if you can't pay for it, it's not going to be a project, right? So you have to bear in mind as you move forward, you have to design something that can be paid for in the end.
On behalf of Bar Constructors, we're really honored to be able to partner with the City of Bastrop, all of its entities, and as well as KSA Engineering and their team on this project. It is a really exciting and new project. It's the new state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facility, as mentioned before, that it's going to really help make an impact in the community around us. It's going to help improve and purify that wastewater so that we can put that back into our environment. That's our bread and butter. That is what we do. Delivering a high-quality product that is very cost-efficient for the community. So it's also going to have that administrative building that Trey had mentioned. It's going to mimic that ranch-style look, just like a lot of those landowners that are here nearby. So we want to thank you guys for allowing us to be a part of the team, allowing us the opportunity, and welcoming us to the City of Bastrop.